he wanted to bring labor and capital together. He wanted the industrial titans of America to conduct themselves in a way that wasn't going to lead to civic controversies and rancor.
And he was constantly talking about the unity that he was bringing in the context of the obvious disunity of the Civil War and how we've moved past that now and we were bringing the country together again. Again, a kind of inverse to Trump, a kind of opposite to Trump in so many ways, in which Trump is dedicated to dividing the country as a way to govern. And McKinley was dedicated to attempting to broaden his coalition so that it would last.
I think that's true, but I think it has to be noted also that he found himself under criticism from people who were interested and concerned about the fate of Black Americans. That this
let's
effort
talk
to
about
bring
that
the country back together, he got nailed by. You may recall in my book, I quoted one fiery Black activist, very eloquent, who basically said, "Why are we supporting this guy? He's not really doing much for us at all." And that's not it wasn't a improper allegation at all.
He wasn't hostile towards African Americans, but he was definitely not that activated to help or to rectify some of. I mean, the lynchings and the violence against African Americans across the country was really quite horrifying in that period, and he didn't do much to stop it.
No, he didn't. There was a patronizing tone. He would go before these Black audiences and he'd talk about how well they were doing in terms of under austere circumstances, but you're handling it very, very well and keep at it. But he wasn't offering any significant help to the fate and the plight of the Black Americans.
How common was it for presidents to go talk to Black audiences in those days?
I don't think I know exactly. I don't.
But that would mark him a little different than others. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he was obviously a strong abolitionist, a hero of the Civil War. But as you're right, I mean, the record shows he did virtually nothing. But he wasn't hostile in his attitude.
No, not at all.
He was not a Southerner in that sense at all.
No.
Let's talk about McKinley in terms of American conservatism. There were many people, some people anyway, who were saying, and Trump is among them, that McKinley is one of his inspirations. And at some level, you can see a tariff man. I mean, even Trump talks about reciprocity in terms of what he's trying to negotiate with on the tariffs. You have the sense of America expanding. So you have Trump talking about the Panama Canal. He's talking about Greenland. He's talking about Canada even. So you can see some vague resemblance there. But they do strike me as almost diametrically different personalities. And their political philosophies could not be more alien to each other, I think. Am I wrong with that? I mean, there's a kind of conservatism to McKinley that is utterly unknowable for Trump. He was it's not there.
Yeah, I don't think he's capable of having that sensibility that McKinley was born with and that he fostered throughout his entire career and his life. And so, yeah,
which is an ability not to take credit, an ability to focus on substance, to take himself out of it if it means that he'll get something done, to allow other people to move forward, to keep the country together in that way, and to sort of nudge the country forward as opposed to controlling it in some way.
Well, I described him at times as an incrementalist, and he was, but he never gave up. He was always pushing and nudging and directing and manipulating. My friend David Ignatius, who read the manuscript to sort of guide me along and give me some counsel, talked about the mystery of William McKinley. And that was very helpful to me because I was having a hard time getting a handle on this guy. But the mystery concept gave me a kind of a foundation. And he was mysterious. And I think maybe we didn't solve the mystery, but I think we might have enlightened the readers a bit in terms of what it was all about. The mystery of McKinley was how he got all that done with so little bombast and so little effort to take credit or demand credit for it.
Whereas, of course, Trump may well be remembered for only bombast and destroying things and not getting actually a lot of substantial, lasting stuff done. That may be he may actually be a polar opposite of McKinley, as it turns out.
I think the other thing is that Trump has not demonstrated so far, and the evidence is that he's probably not in his second term, a capacity to build a governing coalition. He had a couple of electoral coalitions. That's not the same thing. But his first term was characterized by a approval rating that moved forward in a narrow band between 39% and maybe 41%, and he was never able to build on that. And he's not conducting himself in his second term that I can see that is going to make it any different in the second term.
When I think of America, and I think of the kind of conservative that McKinley was, which is an incrementalist, a pragmatist, a sort of modest man, a man not seeking that much attention. That's what makes me interested in why he was so popular as well. And whether you think whether that capacity for Americans to support and love a somewhat, unbombastic, non-rhetorically flourishing, incremental pragmatist like McKinley,